Israel and Lebanon's Hezbollah agree to a ceasefire to end nearly 14 months of fighting. Whoa, has something actually happened? Well, I don't know. I haven't read the article yet. This just happened. So I don't know yet. We'll have to find out together. U.S. brokered ceasefire agreement with Lebanon's Hezbollah on Tuesday, setting the stage for an end to the nearly 14 months of fighting linked to the ongoing war in the Gaza Strip. Actually, potentially quite significant. Funny that this is happening still under Biden's administration, thereby denying Trump an easy win as soon as he gets into office, you know? Israel's just going to break this? Maybe. Maybe. Perhaps. Possibly. Israeli warplanes, meanwhile, carried out the most intense wave of strikes in Beirut and its southern suburbs. Oh, yeah, lots and lots and lots of innocent civilians killed. You all know the deal. You all know the deal. Israel's Secretary Cabinet approved the ceasefire agreement late Tuesday after it was presented by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. His office said, U.S. Joe Biden. When you try to read too quickly, it all falls apart, huh? U.S. President Joe Biden, speaking in Washington, called the agreement good news. Big news. And said his administration would make a renewed push for a ceasefire in Gaza. Eventually, a ceasefire in Gaza will happen because there will be nothing left in Gaza but dust, rubble, and, like, puddles of blood, you know? Like, you know, mulched human remains. At that point, you're just sort of shooting at wet meat. They'll just shoot the rocks. I mean, there's like a million TikToks of them doing exactly that, so we'll see, I suppose. It is good. I can't help but wonder, like, how much of this is actual peace brokering, and yes, Skynet, how much of this is Israel, like, kind of getting scared of Hezbollah? You know, there's a reason why all the big news that you've seen out of the Lebanon-Israeli conflict has been them striking civilians in Beirut, and it's probably because they're not making any progress against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Again, you know, look, the IDF is very, very, very talented at killing babies. When it comes to fighting like a large, well-mobilized, I wouldn't say disciplined, but at the very least highly motivated militia, not so much. Quick list of the ceasefire conditions. Truce is set to take effect at 4 a.m. local on Wednesday. 4 a.m.? Waking up early for this one. The deal is designed to be a permanent cessation of hostilities. Over the next 60 days, the Lebanese army and state security forces are expected to take control of the border area with Israel. Yeah, you're going to get like a 5-meter wide strip of it. Hezbollah is not giving you that. They hold southern Lebanon. The Lebanese army and state security are going to snake down along the border. Like they're going to be shuffling single file to technically meet this requirement of the agreement. They're not going to meaningfully hold, hold it. Israeli forces to, quote, gradually withdraw from southern Lebanon. Oh, I'm sure. Hezbollah's infrastructure in southern Lebanon not to be allowed to be rebuilt. Nice. Yeah, okay. So mini occupation? No. The Israeli forces are sure to withdraw. Thankfully, they didn't make it in very far because Hezbollah isn't just a bunch of, like, Palestinian children. So here's the live UA map pulled up. You can look back in time and see virtually no advancement. I love shit like this, man. You can see the line right here. See blue and red? And we're on the current date. Go back to November 1st. Same. Go back to October 1st. No progress there. 19th, 31st of October. Yeah, no progress at all in the past month. This is November 1st. That's November 26th. It's just not as fun when they shoot back, you know? Not even remotely, Sandler. Israel's 3-day operation. Well, hey, it looks like it's ending sooner than the Russian invasion of Ukraine. To be fair, Hezbollah has admitted to losing over 1,000 fighters so far. They're not exactly having an easy time. No, I'm not saying that Hezbollah could beat Israel. I'm just saying that the IDF are pussies. Like, genuinely. There's a reason why it's common practice in, like, Western militaries to have detachments join in other conflicts. And it's because you want people with battlefield experience. You want people who are capable of, like, keeping their calm in combat. The experience you have with combat does a lot to inform your behavior when you actually face an enemy. And if the only experience the IDF has had is occupying, the Gaza Strip and killing civilians, or waiting on the other side of the Lebanese border and just like hearing stories about how your, other IDF battalions are getting to mulch Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. It doesn't lead to an effective fighting force, apparently, as evidenced by their progression or lack thereof. Very fun stuff. Got a State Department announcement on this, I assume.
I just spoke with the Prime Minister of Israel and Lebanon.
I hear meowing.
I'm pleased to announce that their governments have accepted the United States proposal to end the devastating conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. I want to thank President Macron of France for his partnership in reaching this moment. For nearly 14 months, a deadly conflict raged across the border that separates Israel and Lebanon. A conflict that began the day after the October 7 attack by Hamas on Israel. Hours later, at 2 a.m. in the morning, Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations backed by Iran attacked Israel in support of Hamas. Let's be clear, Israel did not launch this war. The Lebanese people did not seek that war either, nor did the United States. Over the past year, including the days immediately following October the 7th, I directed the U.S. military to flow assets and capabilities into the region, including...
How does the government of Lebanon negotiate a ceasefire for Hezbollah? They didn't. Hezbollah agreed to the ceasefire. Hezbollah also agreed to it. Hezbollah has probably also recognized that the Palestinian people are done for, and for that reason, they can no longer use the Palestinian people as a pretext for the ongoing hostilities with Israel. Like, there's kind of a timer on that, you know?
Aircraft carriers, fighter squadrons, and sophisticated air defense battery to defend Israel and deter our common enemy at critical moments. Since the war with Hezbollah began, over 70,000 Israelis have been forced to live as refugees in their own country, helplessly watching their homes, their businesses, their communities as they're bombarded and destroyed. And over
Can you believe that this guy and his team were pushing for another 4 years? Even with him being as he is, even though all of them knew he was falling apart and too old to do the job, even with the internal polling showing they would have lost in a massive landslide to Donald Trump.
300,000 Lebanese people have also been forced to live as refugees in their own country. And a war imposed on them by Hezbollah. All told, this has been the deadliest conflict between Israel and Hezbollah in decades. How many of Hezbollah's senior leaders are dead, including its longtime leader, Nasrallah?
You're like
Israel has destroyed Hezbollah's terrorist infrastructure in southern Lebanon as well, including miles of sophisticated tunnels, which were prepared for an October 7-style terrorist attack in northern Israel. But lasting security for the people of Israel and Lebanon cannot be achieved only on the battlefield. And that's why I directed my team to work with the governments of Israel and Lebanon to forge a ceasefire, to bring the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah to a close. Under the deal reached today, effective at 4 a.m. tomorrow local time, the fighting across the Lebanese-Israeli border will end.
It looks like he can't even open his eyes all the way anymore.
This is designed to be a permanent cessation of hostilities. What is left of Hezbollah and other terrorist organizations will not be allowed, well, I emphasize, will not be allowed to threaten the security of Israel again. Over the next 60 days, the Lebanese army and state security forces will deploy and take control of their own territory once again. Hezbollah terrorist infrastructure in southern Lebanon will not be allowed to be rebuilt. And over the next 60 days, Israel will gradually withdraw its remaining forces. And civilians on both sides will soon be able to safely return to their communities and begin to rebuild their homes, their schools, their farms, their businesses, and their very lives.
All right, that's enough. We get the gist, I suppose. Well, I mean, it's probably a good thing. It's not like Hezbollah was primed to defeat Israel or anything. That's one loud Blue Jay lol. Yeah, holding their own protest. It's crazy, man. You think Biden will go down as one of the worst presidents? No, because Americans don't give a shit about foreign policy. Unless the Democrats, like, massively change their tune as well, most Americans will never think of Biden as the guy who handed this election to Trump. Apparently Israel's still launching strikes in Lebanon, though. Well, the ceasefire hasn't gone into agreement yet. The IDF is bloodthirsty. Of course they're going to, like, fire as many strikes as they can. They'll be there with a stopwatch, Wonder if they'll end up breaking the deal, because they're like so hyped up for fighting. Who can say? Moronic voters handed the election to Trump? Nah. There's no point in blaming people like that. It's not very sociological. People's behavior, it's motivated by environmental forces. And in this case, the environmental force is, well, at the very least, has been heavily shaped by the Democrats and their insanely ineffectual behavior in fighting fascism. It's you gotta blame them. Dems deserve this loss. Yeah, the American people don't. The American people deserve better. Dems are so much worse at politics than Republicans. They deserve the loss just for with regard to like their inability to play the game, you know?